guys, welcome back. I am really sorry I didn't post yesterday. I was going to do like a video back to back so you weren't waiting. But I was doing all my holiday baking and things got a little crazy, so I lost track of time and didn't get a chance to record anything. So we did our candy canes, and then you should have colored in the other two as you're, coloring homework. And today we are going to do these pine needles. I kind of picture this as a Christmas tree. So like this is the Christmas tree and, kind of like the really close-up view. So we're going to do our pine needles like this. I tested it out just to make sure I liked the color combos. And we're going to be doing that to all of them. So I'll do some on camera with you guys, kind of showing you my technique. And then we kind of just will overnight get that done, and then that way tomorrow we can tackle, I think we'll do all these ornaments and the bows and see what else we can get done. I don't want to break this into like a bajillion parts either, because then it'll just take forever. So we're still using our Prismacolors, but the most important thing here is Prismas are very soft, so they do lose their sharpness, and to do this technique you really need to keep them sharp. So you're gonna have to like take breaks and sharpen, kind of like you would if you were doing hair. So first thing we're gonna start with is dark green, and I have my color cards back out so that you guys can keep up. Hopefully my camera doesn't do the whole freak out thing. I'm going to change the angle just a little bit. Okay. Alright, so kind of going with the flow here, with the direction. So don't worry about the black lines, just kind of flick. And then keep turning your pencil as you flick. And this is what you would do with hair. And you want some to come out. It's okay if they overlap. Yep, gotta make sure I'm on camera. And it keeps focusing in on my hand. Hopefully it won't do it so much. Okay. And then now we just take our olive green, same thing, just keep turning your pencil as you're flicking. It's a little easier than hair because you're not having to worry about highlights and all that. So that part makes it easier. All right, grab our lime peel. Now lime peel is kind of like our filler. So you see any like white space you've left, that's kind of where you go in with the lime peel. And you can flick out a little, here and there. But really, this is our filler. Let's see how that goes. Alright, let's keep going. And yes, we'll be adding white gel pen, but I don't want to do that right now, because then I'll just smudge it all over the place. So back to our dark green. Let's start up here at the top. Yes, you'll get a wrist cramp. You'll notice how I'm like constantly turning this. And see already how it's starting to blunt. That's the thing with Prisma. I have to sharpen it. And you're like barely sharpening it, but you really need that sharp point. So that's kind of the bummer here, is like, other pencils like polys and all those, you don't have to sharpen as crazy because these are so soft, and I'm not using a very hard pressure as I flick here. Just try to do one section at a time, so don't go tackling this one over here. Keep focused on the the one. And you can be kind of sloppy about it. I mean, if you've ever looked at a Christmas tree. It's not perfect. It's got pine needles going all over the place. Just don't accidentally cover. If you do, you know, cover your candy there, it's okay. But try not to, otherwise we gotta break out the eraser. Alright, let's get some olive green in there. My olive green is on its last leg. Oh, and it's falling out of its extender already. But yeah, you definitely want to keep these sharp no matter what. And it will be frustrating. You'll be sharpening and sharpening, and you'll kind of feel like that's all you're doing. And that will be, but consider it like a nice little break for your hand. Okay. And again, remember, lime peel is our filler. So you kind of want to aim for any of those extra white spaces you see. And it's okay if you flick a little out. The lime peel doesn't always have to be as super sharp because it's our filler, but you still want to keep it. You don't want it to get blunt because, like, if you're pulling out, see how I have like some lime peel on the sides here? You obviously don't want those to be huge chunky lines. And then just kind of go in, fill in some of these. And then you kind of almost want to take a step back and go, okay, does this need to be darker? Like there was a tree I was coloring that to me looked dark, and then I took a picture of it and I realized it wasn't dark enough, so I had to like keep going back and darkening and filling it out. See, I'm just kind of adding a little more darkness to the middle. And I'm still flicking no matter what. You don't want like a chunk of color. Okay. Let's see, I guess we'll move our way down. Like I said, I'm just going to do a couple with you guys because this is a very lengthy process, and if I were to do like even this whole page, we would be here a very long time. So maybe I could do this whole page with you guys. We'll see how far we can get. I'm gonna turn my book though. You almost have to just move your book whichever way is comfortable for your wrist. Oh, and I need to sharpen. Like the ideal pencil would be a polychromos or something harder, but I wanted to stick with one pencil just in case people didn't have all the other ones. I might have to break out my smaller sharpener for this olive green. Alright, so back to our dark green. I know it's so unconventional. We're totally coloring out of the lines. It's okay, I promise. I tend to get quiet when I'm doing this. I don't know why. I like get in the zone of flicking. This is a good thing like to do while you're watching TV because it's kind of like mindless. You don't have to think about it too much other than remembering to turn your pencil. But other than that, let's start adding some more colors first. Other than that, you don't have to think about it a whole lot. You can add as much of the dark green you want, or as much of the lime peel, olive green. If there's one color you want it to show more of, go ahead and throw that in there. There's no rules here. If you want it to be a lot lighter, just add more lime peel. And you can switch it up between each branch, or I don't know, are these considered branches? I'm not a botanist. Or I guess actually this is a tree, so it would be an arborist, wouldn't it? Oh gosh, I don't know. Now we're getting too technical. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of get some of these white spaces. So I do this method with most trees. I just kind of ignore what they've put there for me and do my own thing. You could cover these up with like white acrylic paint, wait for it to dry, and then go in, you know, and make your own lines. But I just see up here, I just kind of add the white gel pen, and it takes your eyes away. Ooh. Can't hold a pencil today. It takes your eyes away from it, so you don't notice it much. Like right now, you're going, oh my gosh, like totally out of the lines. But once you add the white pen or white gel pen over everything, it works out just fine. I just have a few gaps in here I want to get. You can pretty much expect that you're going to have to sharpen pretty much after each section. Alright, so we have one here, but now I must sharpen. And you know what? I am going to pause and go get my other olive because this one is just way too short and it's driving me nuts. Okay, I'm back now. I can use those short ones like on my own, but if I'm on camera trying to demonstrate something, it's really annoying. So that's why I had to swap it before I lost my marbles. Now with this one, where the little mice guy is, I'm going to try and stay more in the line there. It's okay if you get like some on his fur, but you don't want to get too much because we do have to color him. Green. Oh, look at that brand new pencil. Love it. Took me a minute to find it. I get a lot of sets in different sizes from like as gifts, or there's sometimes like a sale on one size, not the others, and I'll buy that one size, and then I just kind of keep an inventory. I have a little checklist that tells me how many of each color. And then I also have like a little mason jar full of a bunch of open stocks too, and that's normally where like I go first and I'll always find one, but this one was hiding in one of the extra pencil sets I had, so it took me a minute to find it. Okay, let's move up towards the top too. See, it's not too much, it's just a whole bunch of flicking motions. I wonder if I'll be able to do it at this angle. Let's see. And this is why you want paper. Oops, wrong color. It's like, wow, that looks kind of light. This is why you want paper, because you're totally going to go over it right now. See, there's like 2 here, so we're doing this one. And you can like change it up if you want. You want to flick them up that way, you want to flick some, they don't all have to be in the same direction. I just tend to do that, but I make them different lengths. But you can totally do it however you want. This is just more so I'm showing you a technique and you can use it or do your own, because there's so many different ways to color a Christmas tree. Or if you don't want to do this method, you can just use this color combo and just color like in, you know, from dark to light. You could totally do that too, just using this color combo. Basically what I'm getting at is there's no wrong way to do this. Or you could totally, like, if you want a blue tree, swap out my colors for blue. I almost did a blue tree, but I decided I wanted to keep it conventional. When I was growing up, my grandparents actually had it was a fake tree. When we were a lot younger, it was actually a real tree, but it was always white. And they always had blue lights and blue ornaments. And it was really pretty. I have a whole coloring book of just Christmas trees. And so I'm trying to do like those ones all different colors. I don't know if you've ever been to like a those Christmas tree expos. Can't go this year, obviously. I don't even think they're having it this year because of COVID and all that. But just to see all the crazy decorated trees that people do. It's amazing what people can do with a Christmas tree. Alright, now I'm just trying to fill in some of the gaps. Might actually go over this again with some dark green and darken that center a teensy bit more. I'm just going to pull this out. So I want it a little bit lighter. Oops, got one that's rolling away. A little darker here in the center. And I did get a little bit of this ornament rope, but it's not a big deal. I'm not spraying this down with fixative, so I can always go back. Oops. I hate when I accidentally bend the edge of my paper. Let's see if that's dark enough. Might even just go in there like this and darken up that center a teensy bit. Okay. Now I just want to go in there and fill her up with lime peel. I'm not using a heavy pressure. Can't remember if I said that or not. I'm actually using more of a medium pressure and just flicking. So kind of like you just press towards the center and then flick out. Flick out. Like Once you get the hang of it, you can do it fast. But if you're just learning how to do it, you want to just kind of put your hand there and then flick, flick, flick. Once you get used to it, you're kind of just, you know, flick, 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 flick. Not too much thought. All right, I think that's good. Oh, let's get those little ones. All right. This one's going to be tricky because it's coming off the page. If I can get my pencil that escaped. I think what I'll do actually. Huh, interesting. My my coloring card left some green there. I'm going to, on this one, flick up because I don't want to accidentally tear up my page and then work my way down. See what I mean? You can totally zone out watching a TV show while doing this. And trust me, when I do the rest off camera, I will be zoning out. I keep forgetting that I'm on camera, so I'm trying to not zone out while doing this. It's like with hair, I just kind of get in the groove and you're just lost in it. And it's oddly relaxing. Okay. Guess what? It's time to sharpen again. And I know you're probably thinking, wow, I'm going to eat up my pencils, but you really aren't. You're just sharpening back to that point. So it's not like you're using a lot of the pencil. It's just you need it to stay sharp. And if you're worried about using too much, you can always use a Tagal. They would give you, the Tagal sharpens kind of to this type of point here, the manufacturer's point, but it uses a lot less wood because see how much wood would be taken while sharpening versus how much wood if I'm using this. But problem is you'll sharpen more often that way. But hey, whatever works. I use the Doll 133 and I just use that for sharpening. The Tagal is great, but it loses its blade, like the blade dulls out pretty quick. I couldn't think of the word. The blade dulls out pretty quick, and so you end up having to replace it a lot more often, which is why I wanted to go to the crank sharpener. It's so old school, hand crank sharpener. Reminds me of going to like elementary school. I still use my Tagal though on my really expensive pencils that I just cannot or do not want to replace. But with my Prismas, I mean, you can get them so cheap. Right now, like their 150 set is in the 90s, which is a good price. Every so often it'll drop into the 80s. And I use that app Honey, and I'll get a notification, and anytime I see that, I like instantly jump on it because 150 pencils for under 90 bucks, yes please. Otherwise it's like $1 something from Blick Arts. If if you have a Hobby Lobby, you can go there, but it would depend on if they carry the whole set. Most Hobby Lobbies don't, I guess I gotta keep this down here, I guess. Most Hobby Lobbies don't keep the whole 150 set, though. At least none out here. I haven't seen anyone with a 150 set. Like, if I run out of French Gray, I can guarantee they're not gonna have it. I have to go order it. And the Michaels here has like 50 pencils. Like, what is this? Why do you even bother having this? But like, if you can get them at your craft store, definitely do it, because a lot of times you can combine it with like their coupons. So like Hobby Lobby has that 20% off, but it's 20% off one thing. So only one pencil, but if you really do need that one pencil, 20% off is pretty nice. I, however, just do Blick Arts and order them as I need them. It's $1 something. I know you get them like $1.12 if you order 12 of the same, but it's really not too bad. Plus I use that Rakuten, so I always get cash back when I order from Blick, no matter what. What are we at? We're almost at a half hour, so I think what we'll do is I'll finish this one, and then I'll show you the gel pen. Now, I'm using the Arteza gel pens, but if you have like a Signo or a Jelly Roll, you can use any of those too. Why is that not coloring? Oh, something wrong with the tooth of the paper there. So yeah, you don't have to have the Arteza one. The Arteza ones do work really well on top of waxy stuff, but if yours isn't coloring on top of the pencil, spray it down with like a workable fixative first. That usually solves the problem. Okay, so now, oops, dropping my cards. I'll start at the top. So I'm using the Arteza white in the 0.6. They have a 1.0 and then a 0.8, I think. Of course, now that I just said that it works well on waxy, it's not working. That's what I get. So I'm just kind of like lightly going over it, but almost focusing as much as I can on the black lines. You don't have to cover them all the way though, like leaving that little bit of black, kind of like I did down here. Yeah, this tricky angle. And you don't want too much of this, because otherwise you're gonna like kill all the color you just spent flicking in there. So just keep that in mind. Oh, see, yep. I jinxed myself because I said it worked fine and now it's not. Flicking, there it goes. It's because my hand is moving too fast. I need to move slower. See, it works fine if you move slow. I'm just trying to get it done. And again, just aim for the black lines, but don't like think you have to cover every single black line. That's not really the goal here. We're just giving it a frost. And I'll probably end up going back and playing with this after, and you can too. And then once it dries, like say you feel like you covered up too much color, once it dries, just go back over it with a pencil. Or just scrape it off. You can usually just scrape off the gel pen and the pencil should still be there. And if it's not, just color it back in after. Sometimes you'll do this and then realize, oh, I covered up too much of my pencil, I don't like it. you don't want like perfect white lines here either. You want them to look scratchy. So it's like okay if it's, you know, you see a little dent in your line, you want that. And sometimes I even go back over it with an X-Acto blade and make more lines because I feel like it's too white. See, just, you're not really using the same flicking motion as with the pencils, but that's just because this is the gel pen and we're not going for that effect. We're just kind of quickly trying to cover up some of the black so it's not so obvious, but really you're just adding some dimension. And like I said, you can go back over it with pencil, you can scrape it off. I don't want to set my color card on top of that wet pen. And you can do this with like the jelly rolls, and the Signo works for all of them. One sec. Okay, set that there. So I'm just kind of going, no real like plan, just kind of flicking it here and there, aiming for some of the black. They don't all need to be the same length or even come from the same spot on the tree. Like, be as sloppy as you want. Don't stress over it, basically, is all I'm saying. And your lines definitely don't have to be exactly like mine. In fact, you could make yours a lot prettier. And we can always go and add more later after like the background and everything else is done. There. So if I remove that, there we go. See, so I know at first you're like out of the lines, so you're going, oh my gosh. But once you cover it up with the white and all the pencil, it actually looks pretty cute. And it's fluffier than if we had just colored these. That's how I like to do pine needles on Christmas trees and, well, any pine tree. But you can do them however you like. Like I said, you can use that same color combo and just color them in if you want, if you don't want to flick them. Or do what I did. But what we'll do is, because here we are 33 minutes in and that's all we accomplished. So aren't you glad I didn't do the whole thing on camera? So yeah, your homework overnight will be to finish filling all of these in. And again, the colors are, I will put them all right here. Maybe, because I dropped one. All right, so you'll be using all of those colors to create this. Do it whatever pattern you want. I'd love if you would tag me on Instagram after you've done yours and show me. And then, like I said, you can use the Arteza 0.6 or the Signo gel pen, which is from Uniball. I don't know what size this one is. You'd think I would know, but I don't. Well, you can use the Signo, it'll do the same thing, or a jelly roll. What's funny is these Artezas come in a 3-pack in different sizes, and you can do the same with the jelly roll white pens and get them in different sizes. So if you have either or, you don't have to go buy the Arteza one just to do this, is my point. You can even take white acrylic paint or whiteout if you have either of those. Like, say you don't have a white gel pen, get whiteout or white acrylic paint and just flick them. So whatever, just to get that effect, and that covers up the lines and makes it look less obvious. But all right, so I'm going to keep plugging away at all of these, and it's tedious work, but it's fun at the same time. You can zone out, watch a show, listen to music or an audiobook. And then tomorrow, like I said, we are going to tackle all of the ornaments, I think. So until then, guys, take care.